So Splatoon is a series with an absolutely gigantic and borderline unnecessary amount of lore. Like, you think FNAF has a lot of lore? Sunken Scrolls, developer interviews, art books, random pop-up stores. All of these things add to the world building of Splatoon, resulting in countless mentally ill people abandoning their academic career in favor of studying the lore of a game played primarily by 7-year-olds and trying to convince people that one tweet by an underpaid social media intern is somehow the missing piece in understanding the dark secret of this children's game.
Hey!
And when you're a series with this much lore, some things are bound to be proverbially swept under the proverbial rug, with Splatoon of course being no exception to this. So, that's what this video is about. The loose ends, missing pieces, and unsolved mysteries in Splatoon lore. Something that I highly doubt we'll ever get an answer to, since the only time it was mentioned was in a single page from the Japan-exclusive art book Haikata Walker. The Low Water Party, or Deep Sea Rave, is one of the biggest anomalies in Splatoon lore, and the reason as to why that is really f***ing stupid. Let me read what Haikata Walker says about this. The Low Water Party, or as the Inklings call it, LWP, became one of the largest raves in Greater Inkopolis. This year's venue was held in the deep sea, regardless of high or low tide. Despite knowledge of the party spreading only through word of mouth, over 60 million Inkopolitans rushed into the deep sea, causing the water level above to rise by 30 centimeters.
That's right. The amount of people that attended this concert was 60 million! Question mark? Because even though that's already 17 times larger than the largest concert ever held, apparently that number could have been even bigger.
Let me explain. So, the Japanese publication of Haikata Walker lists the amount of people as 60 okuman, a number that doesn't even exist! It's a combination of oku, meaning billion, and mon, meaning million. Oku and mon are used separately, but not together. So Haikata Walker used a fake number when listing the amount of people! However, despite it not making sense numerically, okumon is sometimes used as a slang term for a billion, so if we were to use that definition of the word, then the amount of people that attended the Low Water Party jumps to 60 billion!
And this is where we get to the unsolved mystery part. Because just how many people went to this concert? Because the number can range from unknown to 60 million to 60 billion to 60, a number that doesn't even exist. And keep in mind, we also have no idea if this is even an accurate account in the first place. This could be a completely hyperbolic account of the event for all we know. But we have such little information about it that it's impossible to tell.
Even then, remember, these are all people from Inkopolis, so the population of this one city is potentially over 7 times larger than the entire human population of Earth. One city has that many people.
Which raises the question, just how large is the population of the Splatoon world? Because if one city can potentially have that many people, then what is the rest of the world like?
Thankfully, while that may seem pretty shocking at first, large population numbers like this are actually pretty common in Splatoon lore. Like there's Marina being part of what seems to be the 83rd generation of Octoling soldiers, and then there's Nishida from High Tide Era who has 247 siblings.
And the explanation for why these population numbers are so high can actually be traced back to the real world. Real world marine animals in general are known for laying a ton of eggs, so it would make sense that a civilization comprised entirely of highly evolved marine animals would be so populous.
I love when Nintendo puts information that's extremely important in understanding the Splatoon world in places that are extremely hard to find. But wait, there's more, because this is actually only one half of the mystery of the Low Water Party. Let me read the rest of that Haikata Walker page. Out of nowhere, a mix of music that gave off a mimetic feeling could be heard, signaling the start of the party. They didn't show up, but in that moment, everyone was convinced that those bumping beats came from none other than the artist who had disappeared from the deep sea, Deadfish. After that, major artists started appearing one after another, such as DJ Octavio featuring Callie, Bob Dub, and even an impromptu appearance from the Rainmaker team Underpass Bass Drum. When a member of Underpass Bass Drum said, "I'm playing the double bass for the first time today, so forgive me if it doesn't sound the best," the audience got hyped up. And the biggest highlight of this year's rave was probably the participation of the oh-so-popular Off the Hook, the 8-hour-long DJ battle between Marina and Songo, as well as the rap battle between Pearl and MC Craig filled with language too vulgar to hit the airwaves or to put on paper, caused several ravers to forget about returning to the real world and go missing. It is said that many have still yet to return to the surface.
So not only did the amount of people that attended this concert potentially number in the billions, but now we also have to take into account that some of these people went missing and haven't been found since. Which, by the way, if we were to assume that the Low Water Party takes place after Octo Expansion, then that means that these people have been missing for 7 years. And, as is to be expected, we have no idea what caused these disappearances. But it must have been pretty big if that many people have been missing for that long. So exactly how many of the potential billions of people went missing? Where did they go? Did they die? Did they get kidnapped? I don't know, and frankly, I don't think Nintendo knows either. So let's just move on.
Actually, one more thing. If we were to take 60 Okumon's direct translation of 60 billion million literally, so multiplying a billion by a million and adding the 60 so the number becomes easier to understand, then the number of people that attended the Deep Sea Rave would be 60 quadrillion! However, Japanese is a completely different language than English, so it would be kind of disrespectful to take the direct translation literally. Like, the Chinese word for penguin loosely translates to business goose, and obviously penguins aren't just geese wearing suits and ties, so it's probably just a product of it being a different language. The real number is still unknown. In Splatoon 1, once you defeat a boss, most people would probably just get the Zapfish and leave, since there's not really anything else to do there.
However, if you decide to not immediately get the Zapfish and instead decide to just hang out there for a while, eventually, you'll start to hear some noises that are pretty weird, to say the least.
Good God! Imagine you're a kid hearing that for the first time. Like, you just beat the boss, you go AFK for a bit to get a snack, and you come back to that.
So, what the hell is happening down there? Because that sounds like the gates to hell have been opened and the souls of the damned are screaming out in pain. So again, what are these sounds supposed to be? And what is even making these noises in the first place?
And, like every unsolved mystery on this list, I doubt we'll ever get a proper answer to that question, because the game's director had no idea that those sounds were even added, so not even Nintendo knows what these sounds are. So, it looks like we gotta find the answers ourselves. So the noises that we hear are something crashing, a train bell, a train whistle, and screaming.
So, at first, I didn't really think anything of these sounds. I thought they were just a bunch of random generic scary haunted game creepypasta sounds. But I knew there had to be some sort of deeper meaning to these, so I listened to these noises again. And, call me insane all you want, but I think I found a pattern to these noises.
So, you know how the Octarian domes are suffering through an energy crisis? Yeah, well I think that these noises are a result of that energy crisis. I think that what we are hearing is the surrounding Octarian infrastructure collapsing from a lack of power. Because, think about it. There's train sounds, loud crashing sounds, and screaming, all of which could very realistically be from a train derailing and crashing after its power supply was suddenly shut off. These sounds are extremely hard to find, there's something that we have next to no reliable information about, and it's enough to give the game's 7-year-old target audience nightmares. It's textbook Splatoon lore.
But also, if these are the sounds of the surrounding Octarian infrastructure collapsing from a lack of power, then my god, that is horrifying.
And it's made even more horrifying by the fact that this is entirely your fault, because the player is the one that took the Zapfish from the Octarians, and the noises that you're hearing afterward are the direct consequences of your actions. So congratulations, because it's your actions that led to an innocent Octarian family of 5 dying in a train crash. Yippee!
But anyways, that's just my interpretation of these noises, but we still have no idea what they actually are. That's just my best guess. Fourth agent of the new Squidbeak Splatoon, and constant unfortunate reminder of the existence of Splatoon 2's Hero Mode, Agent 4 is the only previous protagonist to not reappear in Splatoon 3, with very little explanation as to why that is. And this has led to a lot of discussion amongst the community as to where the hell they could possibly be. Thankfully, we do have some information as to what happened to Agent 4 after Splatoon 2. We know that when Marina was creating the members, she chose Agent 4 to manage its security. We know that they were cloned by Order to create Parallel Canon because it thought they were the strongest. We know that they were among the people who had part of their souls taken by Order and turned into a pallet, and that's it. That is literally all we know about what happened to Agent 4 during Splatoon 2.
And even then, there's no way that's everything that Agent 4 was doing. There is no way that they were working on the members' security for the entire time between Splatoon 2 and Splatoon 3. That is a time gap of 5 years, and I refuse to believe that's all that they were doing. So Nintendo refuses to acknowledge Agent 4's existence, and when they do finally choose to acknowledge their existence, they give us information that is so incredibly vague that it might as well not even exist in the first place.
Now I'm going to try to come up with a few two possible answers as to where Agent 4 could be. There's the realistic option and the insane option.
So, the realistic option is that after the Members project finished development, Agent 4 just left Inkopolis and went back to their hometown. Or maybe they stayed in Inkopolis and just went back to doing regular civilian things. Maybe the reason they weren't present during the events of Splatoon 3 was because they just weren't interested in doing any of the new Squidbeak Splatoon things. Or the insane option, they f***ing died. They're dead. When Order took over the Members, they killed Agent 4 to make Parallel Cannon, and Parallel Cannon is just Agent 4's corpse reanimated to fight Agent 8. But obviously there's no way that actually happened, because I highly doubt that Nintendo would kill off one of the good guys, especially one of the protagonists. So yeah, I'm pretty sure Agent 4 is still alive, we just don't know where they are.
Thank you all for watching. This is the third time now, I think, that I've tried to make a well-structured, informative video, but it ended up just spiraling out of control. I remember at one point when I was researching this video, I had like 38 different tabs open on my computer, and I turned my computer off and I left my house for a bit, and when I came back, my computer crashed because I had so many tabs. I mean, that's just the reality of liking Splatoon lore, I guess. It kills your computer. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Bye!